Hello there, my name is Nakutso and today we'll be uncovering an indie title that's a throwback to the Nintendo 64 with its graphics, humor, and references. How does it hold up as its own game? Find out on today's episode of Indie Uncovered. Created by Siestro, Macbat 64 brought back that feeling of nostalgia that I haven't quite felt in a long time. A large part of it is due to the graphics being spot on to the older Nintendo 64, rarer games with Banjo-Kazooie being one of the bigger influences. The story starts with a recap of the last game in which the main character Kiwi stopped an evil melon from taking over Kiwi Land. Some time later has passed and now you, yes, you the dapper dressed Macbat must set forth on his own adventure to save the world from this vile melon threat who's risen again. Pretty simple, right? Stop an evil melon from doing evil things. There's 10 main worlds and once completed 3 more worlds become unlocked for you to play. Each world has different goals and mechanics unique to it for you to learn. From looking for gear in an oh so familiar forest to playing a Mario Kart-esque race against a couple of opponents, the variety found in the gameplay was a big presence in Macbat 64 and that was great to see. NPCs in these worlds you talk to give you clues and tasks needed to progress further. This was another highlight of the game as it made me want to play more since they also made references to past video games and every so often I found a joke or silly dialogue that made me smile. In one sitting it took me around 1.5 hours to complete while another 30 minutes were spent finding various secret areas and tasty Easter eggs littered across these worlds. As much as I enjoyed the simple gameplay of Macbat 64, graphics, cheesy humor, and the parodies it made, I couldn't help but feel disappointed in a few areas of the gameplay and design which I felt could have been better. As I mentioned earlier, the game has 13 worlds in total, but these felt more like levels than worlds you would think of from a platforming adventure. When you recall the word world in an N64 game, you tend to think of a hub world that connects to various levels in the game. Macbat 64 breaks these down using the book on the main menu to enter the levels laid out for you. This wouldn't be a problem if the levels themselves were bigger or longer, but they're too short and condensed to really get a feel for the level before it's over. The objectives in these worlds mostly consisted of collecting items to advance, but I wish there were more puzzles or other objectives, again going back to needing a bigger world with more to do. The difficulty in Macbat 64 is also easy as there are little to no enemies you come across, and when you do, you usually get sent back to the starting point with no other consequences. More enemy NPCs being added, a life counter, and health bar would have made for a more challenging and interesting gameplay. In the previous game at Kiwi Land, there were simple enemies and it still felt easy, but at least there was something more than just pure platforming as you had an attack to use against a few enemies and those foes could inflict damage to you, causing a threat even if it's small. I really hope this, along with the other issues I pointed out, is fixed in the sequel. For $5.99 US, I still found enjoyment in the game, and if you are itching for a platformer similar to those retro titles, then give Macbat 64 a shot. It has its issues with lame, some design, and ease of difficulty, but most of the time it retains that old school charm to give you a couple hours of nostalgic fun. Here's a question of the day for you. If you could parody any level from a past video game of your choice, what would it be? Feel free to share your replies in the comment section below. I wanted to say thank you so much for making it to the end of this video as it was challenging and fun to create. If this video offered any value for you, then consider subscribing and clicking the bell notification icon to stay up to date with some of the latest indie gaming content and news I release during the week. Now get out there and start uncovering awesome. Later, folks.